When you think about the Army's smartest weapons, your mind probably jumps to high-tech tanks, drones, maybe fighter jets. But what if one of its most powerful strategic tools isn't a weapon at all? What if it's just a good internet connection? Today, we're going to dig into some really fascinating research that shows how education is completely reshaping military service.
Now, what makes the source for this explainer so special is the person behind it. This isn't just some abstract academic paper. It's the Ph.D. dissertation of Dr. Ronnie Rodas. And get this, to finish his doctorate, he did all this research while he was also serving as a U.S. Army recruiter. So he's got this incredible, one-of-a-kind perspective. He's the serious academic researcher, but he's also the guy on the ground living this stuff every single day.
And this research is deep. I mean, really deep. Dr. Rodas didn't just look at 1 or 2 years. He analyzed almost a quarter century's worth of data, all the way from 1997 to 2021. He really wanted to understand how the explosion of educational tech has actually impacted soldiers over the long run.
So, Dr. Rodas' study really boils down to a few big questions. And the first one is a biggie for the Army. How do you get good people to sign up in the first place? Let's talk about recruitment.
The core question he asked was simple, but it's so important. Does offering soldiers the chance to learn online actually move the needle on recruitment? Is it just a nice little perk on a brochure, or is it a real reason someone decides to enlist?
While the answer from the data is a huge, resounding yes. Almost 55% of the time, the availability of distance learning had a direct, positive impact on getting people to join. This isn't some small thing. For more than half of potential recruits, education is a major draw. And this chart breaks it down even more. That 55% is the biggest piece of the pie for sure. But look at that second bar. Just the act of introducing new educational technology had a positive influence over a third of the time. Now compare that to the tiny little sliver of negative impacts, less than 4%. The message here is crystal clear. Education is a massive win for recruitment.
So as Dr. Rodas puts it in his study, these opportunities aren't just some side dish. For a whole lot of people, they are a core reason to enlist. And that, right there, should completely change how the military thinks about attracting the next generation of soldiers.
Okay, so we've seen that education is a huge help in getting soldiers through the front door. But the study's second big question looks at what happens after they're in. How does all this online learning shape a soldier's career, both while they're serving and after they leave?
So this leads us to the next really critical question. Once a soldier is in uniform, does having access to education actually help them get ahead? And maybe just as important, does it set them up for success when they transition back into civilian life?
The data shows a super clear path to success here. The single biggest benefit, at 39%, is career advancement inside the Army, using that education to get promoted and take on leadership roles. But it doesn't stop there. Almost 20% of the benefit is from programs that specifically help veterans transition out, and another 17% is all about opening doors to better jobs in the civilian world. It's a benefit that lasts their entire career journey.
And for those soldiers who stick with it and earn a full college degree, well, the long-term payoff is massive. The study found that over half of the benefit is purely economic. We're talking better pay, more financial stability. Another 35% is directly tied to career longevity. So it's not just about learning stuff, it's about building a more stable and successful future for yourself and your family.
All right, so it's obvious these programs are a huge plus for soldiers. But how does the Army actually get the word out? How do they make sure people know about these opportunities? The next part of the study dives into the Army's own playbook. The research asked a really straightforward question here. What are the actual strategies the Army uses to push these educational benefits to its own people? What's the game plan?
And the findings here are, wow, they're really revealing. The number one strategy, by a long shot, is direct top-down promotion from the institution. That's 60% of the effort. But then look all the way at the end. That last bar, support from a soldier's local day-to-day command, it's a tiny 2.2%. That huge difference is one of the most eye-opening finds in the entire study.
This points to what Dr. Rodas calls a critical disconnect. The Army, as a big institution, is all in on education. But that message doesn't always seem to be trickling down to the unit level. There's this massive gap between the high-level strategy and the actual support a soldier gets from their direct leadership, and that's a huge area for improvement. So all of this leads us to the final bottom-line question. These programs sound great, they clearly work, but they aren't free. The last part of the study asks a simple question. Is the investment actually worth it?
Let's just put it bluntly, the same way the research does. Do the costs of running all these online learning programs end up outweighing the benefits they bring to the Army?
And wow, the data here could not be clearer. It's a blowout. If you add up the direct benefits and the return on investment, you're looking at over 80% of the picture. The actual cost to set up and run the programs, less than 10%. According to this research, it is not even a close call.
And this is so important. The study makes it clear what return on investment means in a military sense. We're not just talking about dollars and cents here. We're talking about creating a force that is smarter, more capable, and ultimately more ready to handle any mission that comes its way.
So let's just boil this all down. What are the 3 huge takeaways from Dr. Rodas's research? 1. Education is a seriously powerful tool for recruitment. 2. It's a proven rocket booster for a soldier's career, both in and out of the Army. And 3. The investment pays for itself many times over, delivering a massive return for the Army.
And just to wrap up, let's not forget where these incredible insights come from. This is the Ph.D. dissertation of Dr. Ronnie Rodos, and it's his unique position as both a serious researcher and a recruiter with boots on the ground that makes this study so powerful and so real.
Which really leaves us with one final, fascinating question to think about. If education is already this big of a game changer for the modern Army, what does that mean for the future of military service? As learning and technology get woven even tighter together, what kind of soldier is that going to create?